There are many things that I loved in the movie, too many to name. It's a film with a lot of layers and a lot of ideas, very big ideas, and yet on the canvas of a thriller, a genre film. First and foremost, the thing I love the most is the relationships between the actors and the characters, the threesome that we see on the stage, the cohorts of Patty and Lee, and the hostage taker of Kyle. That weird dynamic of three people whose lives are intermingled and who change in one afternoon. Oh yeah, it's an extraordinary moment. The first time I came here, I was 12 years old, and everything was a little bit different. It was much more chaotic then. Photographers were everywhere. There were no barricades, really, to speak of. There was no palais. It was the red carpet was kind of at the Carlton, I think. And that really was, even though I had been an actor for quite a while and had made many movies, it really was the beginning of my life as an actor. And my life changed completely from then on. And then to return here 40 years later, we did win the Palme d'Or then, so that was nice. But to return here 40 years later as a director is the greatest honor, because it's really the place for auteur filmmakers. And to be here with the likes of Pedro Almodovar and Jim Jarmusch and so many wonderful directors that I admire. It's really fantastic. Oh, there's nothing luckier than working with an actor who's directed wonderful movies. It's the luckiest thing you could have. That was true for me with Mel Gibson. And when I worked with David Fincher, there were 3 actors on the movie that had all directed films. And he's the most difficult technician in the business, and he thanked his stars every day that he had an actor who understood the exigencies of making films. It just makes it easier, honestly. I think it's easier to have a dialogue with somebody who's been in the fire and who understands how to translate the text to the screen. It's always exciting working with incredibly experienced actors that bring so much to the table, but it's especially exciting working with brand new actors that are starting with all that joy in the business and bring so much commitment as well. Jack O'Connell, he's made many movies now, and he was also a child actor, but watching him bring Kyle to life, a very difficult character who's has so many levels of instability and is so many polar opposites, that's a real joy as well. This film, which is a mainstream studio film made for a modest budget, that's a genre film, a thriller for general audiences, is also really intelligent, has a lot of layers, is meaningful, has a unique voice. Those movies aren't being made anymore. So we are very lucky and very grateful to Sony for having the vision to make a film like this now. I think people do still want to make movies that make them think and that make them feel, that don't manipulate them. But there aren't very many being made in the mainstream world. So one of the reasons why I think that this film belongs here in some ways is that it's challenging how stories are told, that you don't have to choose between being a mainstream film and being an intelligent movie. You can be both. There are actually 3 extremely strong female characters in Money Monster. And that came out of really the development process. When you start working on a screenplay, you start making the characters richer. And that's really the process. That's what we do. We just make it richer and richer and richer and richer until it becomes a full organic being. Julia's character, Patty Fenn, was definitely the one that needed the most fleshing out. And once we brought on Julia, it was very clear that, we really wanted to deepen Patty's point of view in the film. And I think what happened as a result of all of that deepening of the female characters, Katrina's character of Diane Lester, is that we stumbled upon the fact that we'd made a movie about men struggling with their sense of failure. 3 men, really, Kyle, Lee, and Walt, all struggling with the fact that they have such a bad opinion about themselves that they're looking for the values of celebrity and of money in order to give them meaning. What was interesting with that is that also a feature of the movie is how they look for acceptance from these strong women that they've disappointed, both Diane's character and Patty's character. Sometimes those truths only reveal themselves to you somewhere when you're in production or when you're in the editing process. But that's what really comes from creating full characters and full female characters, is that you actually get true dynamics, true cultural dynamics that you might not have gotten otherwise.